everyone, I'm going to walk you through the pasta making recipe that I typically do. In this recipe, I did use about 153 grams of flour to every one egg. I'll probably will reduce that the next time, but I do use both the Bob Red's Red Mill Semolina flour, which has about 160 calories, 33 grams of carbs, and one fiber. So that's about 32 net carbs and 6 grams of protein. So lots of protein. And then I also use the King Authors um, whole wheat flour, which is about 110 calories, 22 grams of carbs, 3 grams of fiber. So you get a good amount of fiber. So with the 22 grams of carbs and the 3 grams of fiber, that's a net carb of 19, and the protein in the whole wheat flour is about 4. And so of course I added 6 eggs to this, and so again, you want to do either 100-gram to 1 egg ratio, and then some people say do about 153 grams of flour to 1 egg. Like again, next time I do it, I'll probably go back to doing 100 grams per egg to make the pasta, just because, as you'll see later, it did get a little dry, so I had to add some water. So I don't add a lot of extra stuff to the pasta when I make it. I know some people, you may add water, you may add oil, salt and pepper, just, for flavor, but I just keep it simple and just keep the egg and flour and make it quite simple. And so as I begin here, you do the kneading process. I could certainly use the She Is Tamika. Shout out to She Is Tamika. She has some amazing arms, and definitely during this kneading, especially with this much pasta and this much dough, I could have certainly used some of her arm strength in kneading out this dough. But I could have used, and you'll see later, I did get a new KitchenAid, or the first KitchenAid, um, for my birthday last month. And I could have used that to knead the dough, but I really actually enjoy the kneading of dough process. For me, it's therapeutic, and it kind of, it gets you that workout that you need. And it's also just fun to do that part by hand. And so I did, like I said, have to add some water to this a couple of times just to kind of make sure all the flour picked itself up. And then hopefully I didn't over knead. Sometimes I feel like I over knead and sometimes I feel like I don't. But here's the kneading process, and I'll pause so you can kind of enjoy that a little bit while I'm kneading. And then, of course, one of the things that you do, wrap it in saran wrap because you do want it to sit and rest for at minimum 30 minutes. You want it to rest and kind of settle in, let all the gluten do what it needs to do. And yeah, and you just set it aside and let it rest. While I let that rest, I did work on, and I may post a separate video. I made some pesto. So here I am. There's my beautiful pistachio KitchenAid. I have wanted this particular pistachio KitchenAid for forever, probably well before I was even married. I have always wanted this particular KitchenAid, and like I said, I did finally get this and some of the meat grinder and then the pasta attachments along with it. And so I was able to make I did two different types of pasta. What you're seeing in the video here is when I'm making the spaghetti. The night prior, I did do a linguine pasta. And with the linguine pasta, I made the pesto I referenced earlier. I did a chicken pesto linguine. So I just basically got a rotisserie chicken and cut that up, added some diced tomatoes to that, and then added the pesto that I made from the basil in the garden, and proceeded to make the pesto chicken linguine. And so the next night, because I still had some pasta dough left, and that's what you see me processing here, I turned this into just the spaghetti and made just classic spaghetti. Did some hot Italian sausage and some ground beef, along with some marinara sauce, things of that nature. I did to the sauce. I did add some fresh basil to that because I like that fresh basil flavor. I also added some mushrooms, garlic, onion, because we do like to kind of feel. I enjoy eating adding mushrooms to the pasta, and so that's what I did there. And so I do appreciate this kitchen aid in the forming of the pasta, at least the spaghetti. I do have a classic pasta machine, a manual one that I still enjoy using. I was explaining to my mother that because she asked if I liked the new KitchenAid, and I said I did like it for efficiency's sake, but I do feel the classic pasta machine that you set on the table, things like that gets the dough a little bit thinner. I feel. And now I will say using whole wheat and the semolina flour, you are going to get a thicker pasta. Probably the flour at some point, if I ever see it in a store, otherwise I'm going to have to order it, is the doppio or 00 flour. That's probably best for pasta if you want that lighter pasta. And of course, you can just use regular all-purpose flour to accomplish this. But I wanted the whole wheat and the semolina just so that I could get more fiber and more protein into the pasta along with the eggs. So that was intentional to use the semolina and the whole wheat because I did want to have more protein and fiber into the pasta. Of course, adding the eggs, you're going to get additional protein just because of the eggs in the pasta. And so what you'll see in the next videos is sort of the ingredients that I use to make the pasta sauce. And you see that here, all the ingredients. And then in these next clips, you'll see the sauce and also the sauce, the spaghetti, the sauce, and then everything made. And so I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.